Welcome to a new segment of what we remember called Personal Connection.
Personal Connection.
This is a segment where one of us has a personal connection with one of the films that we've done and wants to talk about it.
Don't we all?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. With films in general or this film in general?
With some of the films we've chosen.
Well, sure, but we didn't think about this segment at that point. This is a new thing. So, on the road to Highlander, we're talking about the movies that we loved the most as
Highlander.
general. As much as Andy Moldenhauer loves Highlander, we have to figure out what movie I love, Andy Hubert loves as much. I chose Little Shop of Horrors.
I don't think Andy Hubert knows what he's going to choose.
I think it's already been chosen. He might forget every once in a while. It's going to be Apollo 13.
Oh, right. Duh.
Which will be our movie next week. Because he doesn't stop talking about that film. The dude loves space.
Dude loves space.
Loves space. He loves Paxton. He loves Hanks.
You love Rick Moranis.
He loves bacon. I do love
You
Rick
love
Moranis.
plants
I
that
do
talk.
love plants.
In the voice of a Four Tops.
I love this movie in general. Just for a little bit of background, we haven't done part 2 of the show yet.
No.
So
We just watched it, though.
We did just watch it. And so we might step on some ground that you've already heard, but whatever.
Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, we don't have to talk about the plot.
No. That's kind of the whole point of this podcast is to not talk about the plot.
Yeah.
My personal connection with the film. I saw this when I was little, and I thought it was the most magical, crazy thing I'd ever seen. It scared me.
How little were you?
I was 7,
Like not
8.
even born?
Yeah, not even yet. I had just seen Ghostbusters, so that was my Rick Moranis.
You were born when this movie came out?
I was 3 years before. I was born in 84.
84. I thought this 86.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or 87. I forget which
86.
one. Okay. Because it said that it lost, what am I going to say again? It lost Best Song to Take My Breath Away from Top Gun.
Of course it did. Duh. I mean, it's so obvious that it would.
Mean Green Mother from Outer Space took it. It was nominated, but it didn't. That's a good song. What's your favorite song in the show? I guess we're going to talk about that in part 2, but whatever. Let me know.
The theme song, the main song is classic.
Get you right into it.
Yeah, that's
sets the whole story, right? Where you are, who's the character.
You have to remind me some of the songs, though.
Okay, well, we'll do that in part 2. Let's not talk about the movie.
Okay.
I thought this was the most magical thing when I was a kid. This nerdy guy, Seymour Krelborn, he's the everyman.
Do you identify as him, or?
I did at some point. Sure, I wore glasses. I mean, that's
true.
That's all part of the thing. Super nerdy. This is when nerdiness wasn't cool. Being a nerdy
Revenge
plant
of the
guy.
Nerds.
Oh, it was also
Wasn't cool.
No, that wasn't cool.
No, they made him
They tried to make him cool, but
as uncool as possible.
It's true. And Seymour Krelborn is the uncoolest guy, but he has dreams. He has aspirations. He
wants that white picket fence house, wife, job, situation.
He just wants to get out.
The American dream.
Everybody wants to get out of the Skid Row. That's the whole thing, is just to get out.
Down on
right?
Skid Row.
And he'll do whatever he can. He'll sell his soul to the devil. It's the Faust tale, which I didn't really put two and two together. But it totally is.
Because he sells himself to the devil in order to have some type of fame or something like that.
In order to have the good life. And it all blows up in his face. Mm-hmm. But either way,
that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
The animatronics in the film, oh my.
They're so Tronics up in this piece. So much Tronics.
I'm looking at this movie. You can't, this was at a time where there was a very wide separation between what you saw in a television show and what you saw in a movie, right?
Yes.
They're closer and closer in this day and age. But, the stuff that you see in Little Shop of Horrors could never be, recreated on a television show whatsoever.
No, it'd be way too expensive.
The Muppets can do, it campy and do it weird.
Uh-huh.
But, this plant, it looks incredible. Everything is just perfect to me in this film.
It's a good musical.
And there's the transitions between scenes. There's the moment where Seymour Krelborn first brings Audrey into the plant shop, and it's a POV from the plant looking up, and all of the characters combine. It's one of my favorite shots in cinema history.
Kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, sort of. I'll say, but I don't have the personal connection.
You don't have the personal connection.
But I can see this being a really good musical to go see. Almost better as a musical than as a movie.
That's what made it successful. It was the musical beforehand.
Was it a musical beforehand?
It was a crappy Roger Corman film that took 2 days to shoot. And then 20 years later, they turned it into a musical, and then they turned the musical into this movie.
So they made the musical in the early 80s?
Yeah.
And then they... Oh.
And it did great. It was an off-Broadway production.
Oh, that's super cool. I didn't think about that. That makes sense. And now it's like a huge Broadway musical, basically.
Yes, but there are plot elements changed between this film and the Broadway one.
Well, yeah, I think this movie would be too short for a Broadway musical. Like a musical is like usually 2.5 hours.
Yeah, you get an intermission in there.
2 hours with an intermission. Yeah.
But it's also makes sense in terms of a film for like the 3-act structure. Which, the plays, I'm not like a playwright, but usually the 2 acts is what makes sense to me, like the first act, second act kind of thing. Maybe there's a third act, like kind of, I don't know what it's called. Denouement? Wait,
what are you talking about in this?
The difference between a play and a film.
Oh, a play? Yeah, I mean, what is it? Is it, I can't remember. Yeah, it might be first act and second act. Yeah.
But this movie puts the 3-act structure together in like a really nice way to me. It's very clear, like what happens, what starts.
I mean, there's definitely still a 3-act structure in a musical or a play for sure.
Okay,
but it is broken up by those 2 segments. Yeah,
I thought this movie is like a fantasy come to life, and there's like a juxtaposition between the real world slumminess and then like Audrey's vision of like what could be and what the character's life could be, and like they start to grow together as the plant makes Seymour more famous. Like the movie itself becomes more vibrant and colorful. As Seymour Coburn's fame grows, so does the movie itself in terms of like quality and like what colors they use. It almost looks like a totally different movie once that second act kicks in.
So how has this movie impacted your life in terms of being a director yourself?
Here's the question. I love it. Hit me with it. So I shot a movie a few years ago called The Short Happy Life of the Brown Oxford. It's been shortened to The Short Happy Life. It's on YouTube. You can find it. There's complications with the movie. I'm going to leave it at that. But legally, yeah. But it was entirely inspired by Little Shop of Horrors. I wanted to make a movie that was like Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
This otherworldly thing happens to a seemingly regular couple. They have to deal with it. In my movie, which is based on a Philip K. Dick thing, which is why it's complicated legally. A shoe comes to life, and it's about the couple trying to deal with it. In the same way, this plant comes into Seymour's life, and then he has to deal with it. This movie definitely, goes off the rails and does like way more things. It's more about killing and whatever. There's like another shoe that meets another shoe, and they bing bong. That's how the movie ends. And
so you wanted to make your own Little Shop of Horrors.
I wanted to make my own Little Shop of Horrors, and I would literally yank scenes from Little Shop of Horrors and shots and put them in this movie.
Yeah.
Because I think like there's so many impactful scenes to me with the montages and the character acting, which I love, the sets, which are great, the clothing, which is like of the time, like that's like one of my favorite time periods for whatever reason. Like the 80s, like set as the 60s. Yeah, I think that's just like a fun thing to do because those time periods are pretty close together.
Yeah, they're not too far off
in terms of style. Yeah. And I would love to make a movie that's exactly like Little Shop of Horrors at some point in my life. I want to do a Bunnicula movie.
The remake.
I want to do a Little Shop of Horrors television show for HBO for all I care. Or, I'll do a cartoon
It'd be like super gritty.
Yeah, super grimy and gritty.
Yeah, a lot of killing.
Yeah, starring Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, down on Skid Row.
And Emma Rossum. I don't know
who that is.
Oh, she's from Shameless and Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, yes.
She's a great combination actress singer.
Yeah.
And, it would be good as a TV show, I think. You could do it.
Anything could be a TV show these days.
Right?
They don't have enough.
No. You can crap
Hey, have you seen that one show?
No, I can't.
There's 1,000.
I can't. There's like 3 or 4 that keep starting up that people tell me to watch.
It's like unfair. Growing up, we only had just like a couple channels.
Yeah.
On basic TV. And those were the primetime shows that people watched. They weren't talking about cable shows. No one was really like, oh, you see that cable show the other day?
And books...
Now it's like everything.
Used to stay books or turn into movies. Books never became television shows. That's like a whole new concept that's happening. With graphic novels and books being TV shows.
Yeah, the It movie, that's like an early one, but you're right, it's pretty rare. It didn't really happen too much.
Oh, yeah, but that was like a miniseries.
It was a miniseries.
It wasn't like... I can't even think of a 90s television show that might have been based off a book series. Maybe like The Babysitter's Club? Maybe that had like a
You mean
PBS
like a
TV
show that just like keeps going? Because like if it's based off a book, then like it's just going to follow the book storyline.
I
You think they're
guess.
just going to like start with the book and then run with it
Yeah,
or
just
something?
run with it.
I don't think that exists.
Use it. Well, Man Seeking Woman was a great example that happened on FX. A few
Yeah,
years
but
ago.
that wasn't really like a novel. Was it?
Yeah, it was a short novel that they turned into a series.
Oh, really? I thought it was like a series of just like
Fun stories. or
stories
whatever.
about dating.
No,
Yeah.
not really.
Oh, I never read it. I
Kinda
never
had a
looked into
narrative.
it.
Yeah, it was interesting. A lot of the stuff is lifted into the pilot. Like the pilot is almost the book, and there's maybe like the first 3 episodes are almost the book. And there's
I wonder.
elements. but-
I just can't picture what that would look like. Like, because there's a lot of props and stuff in the TV show, so I can't really picture
Yeah.
what the book would be like.
It's a tricky thing because you can write something in a book and it's costing you zero money, but then you start putting it on the screen. You try to make a plant come to life, you're going to be paying up the wazoo for this.
It's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched this movie in a long, long time.
I had this movie on VHS. A friend taped it off television for us because we used to have a friend that did that.
That's fun.
That's like BitTorrent in the 90s. It was like a friend who had like pay-per-view
Small
channels
network.
or like an HBO subscription and a VHS player.
Yeah,
That was the key.
yeah. I used to have like wrestling events taped on video.
You get like 3 different
Christmas
movies on one
movies.
movie, on like one VHS. It was
Yeah.
like, it's the holy grail of movies.
Yeah, when like Christmas would come around, you'd get all the like Home Alone and stuff, like tape that, Home Alone 2, tape that. So you get like commercials in there and stuff.
Oh yeah, if when you're watching it, you pause it during the commercials.
I didn't do that.
You try to get like that perfect cut of the movie.
No,
you
we
never did that.
We left it all commercials and
Yeah.
everything.
I did it a few times for some movies. It's like I'm gonna make this like I'm watching the VHS tape. And you'd like get a little bit of the commercial and like
You like miss a line.
miss a little bit of the line before that when you come back.
Yeah, I never did that. Someone else, my mom must have done that, or my dad, or something like that.
We still have those VHS tapes. A lot of them were like Showtime or HBO, so you do get like the whole film. It was pretty rare, I guess. I would maybe do it for TV a lot too. I'd like tape television, but then I would just leave the commercials in. I would just like set the VCR to record or whatever. My mom still did that up until like 5 years ago.
Really?
She used like the VCR to record television, yeah.
Until you showed her Pirate Bay and how to download uTorrent.
Well, now it doesn't. This is not even important.
Right.
Yeah. Now she just watches whatever.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff to watch.
But there used to be like multiple programs on at the same time, which made it conflicting. So you could tape something off another network while you're watching another show.
Yeah,
And then later you could rewatch that thing.
TiVo. That lasted for a bit.
I think TiVo might still be around.
It is, but like people don't really use it anymore.
Yeah.
Don't need it.
I never had it. And
I didn't either.
I was never a TiVo house.
No.
And whatever was after that, the on-demand like tape recording station. I don't want it. I don't.
You don't need it.
I don't want it. I'll just miss it. Not a big deal.
At this point, it doesn't matter.
Or let's go watch YouTube clips.
Exactly. Yeah. Watch the recap.
I'll get the gist.
See the good stuff when it matters. Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. My entire family loved this film. We would watch
I
it
bet.
together. It was very frightening, and I probably like blocked out like the scariest scenes and just concentrated on the little funny things.
They weren't that scary too.
What, this movie wasn't that scary, or you thought it what?
I didn't think it was that scary.
The mouth, when the camera zooms into the plant's mouth like 3 or 4 times, it's got that weird tongue.
I don't know. He had a goofy voice. He didn't seem that scary.
It had teeth.
But yeah. And he's a puppet too, so I don't know. I mean, if I was a kid, I'd maybe have a different feeling. But like, I think I saw this later.
There's dark themes too, like when Steve Martin puts on that gas mask as a kid. I'm seeing that. Like, that seems dark.
Domestic
scary.
violence is like
Yeah.
a big piece of this movie too, which is like
That goes over your head as a kid.
yeah. You're like, that's normal.
And there's when the dentist puts the photograph of the dog in the dentist chair. He like has like, look at, this is what a human mouth looks like, or whatever. Like, worst kind of mouth, and it's just like a weird,
Oh
creepy
yeah, it was like a
dog face
rat or something.
Yeah, they
it
do
was
it.
something
Do
horrible.
a
It was
close up of a like Seymour's all scary.
some animal.
Yeah, it
They
was
have like black gums and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was probably a rabbit animal.
Seymour chops up that body. I mean, that's a dark scene.
That is, but they show it in shadow.
which is also something that I really like as a filmmaking
So it's
technique.
like, yeah, it's very film noir.
This movie obviously takes from those movies, like a film noir,
Yeah.
and films before it. But it's as your first impression of this movie, it's like, oh, this movie's incredible. It's doing all these original, innovative things, not knowing it's just like it's also taking from things in the past.
So have you watched Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
Not recently, but I have seen that movie.
Yeah, that came out the year before this movie. Frank Oz, same director. That one has no puppetry whatsoever.
Well, Steve Martin.
Okay, well,
He's like a living puppet.
call like you see it.
He's a living puppet man. He's like a Robin Williams living puppet man. Yeah, Frank Oz has done some interesting stuff, right?
What else has he
But he also
directed?
has been working with. He did the Muppet movie. I thought the original Muppet film,
What is that called?
the Muppet movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just called the Muppet.
What did that came out in the 70s, 80s?
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s. It's the one where Kermit the Frog.
I don't think I've ever
gets
seen
amnesia.
a Muppet movie.
No, I used to think I liked them as a kid, but I haven't seen them in forever.
I'm sure they're okay.
I think I like the Great Muppet Caper, but I don't really know what happens in it.
That's another one? Mm-hmm. I know like they do like the Christmas Carol
Yeah,
and Treasure Island.
I think there's one where they like go to New York or something. Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh, that's one of the
name
new
it.
ones, right?
No, it was like in the 80s or 90s.
Oh, you're thinking of Jason Takes Manhattan.
I am not, but things used to take Manhattan. More than one thing can take Manhattan.
You know,
Andy.
Godzilla might have done it one time.
Godzilla did it in
He
the
took
90s.
Manhattan?
He took Manhattan in the 90s.
In the 90s, he took it. See, Manhattan's takeable.
Gremlins kind of took Manhattan, although it was...
I will find you.
It's, taken.
You can't take Manhattan.
You think Liam Neeson could fight Gremlins? You think that would be a fun movie?
A Gremlins movie with Liam Neeson?
Would you cast Liam Neeson in a new Gremlins film?
Yeah, I'd cast him as the guy on the tractor.
Oh, yeah, Futterman.
Tractor guy, Futterman.
Yeah, that'd be great. I've got a particular set of skills. It's more in a tractor.
All right,
than
wrong
gremlins.
movie. Wait, no, actually, it might work. It just might
I like
work.
shoveling around gremlins and killing them. Never bathe them after midnight.
I will find gremlins, and I will take them.
And I will not feed them after midnight. And I will not.
Oh, I spilled some water. Oh, Looks like we're going to have to find them.
What else should take Manhattan?
Well, this plant took Manhattan,
Yeah,
but...
the plan, the alternate ending. I don't know how much of the alternate ending we're going to talk about in part 2. So
Well, that's the one I saw.
I was trying to.
I mean, I did see the other one that you sent.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid talking about the comparisons. My mom liked a movie. Like when
She took Manhattan?
When my mom likes movies, you like movies. As like a kid,
Yeah.
Whatever your mom watches, she loved the Batman film. She liked Cocoon.
Okay, but there's got to be like
She
some
liked Little Shop of
trajectory
Horrors.
where it's like you cross that threshold where it's like, okay, now I
like my
I
own
like
things.
my own things, and she likes failure to launch.
She likes a lot of
Listen,
stuff.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Okay, I get it. You want to watch it 3 times in a row.
Army of Darkness is one of her favorite films of all time.
Your mom's?
Yes,
What?
she loves it.
Oh,
Every
it's
time
like
it's
a
on.
campy comedy.
I don't know. She just loves, these kind of films. These like goofball. Like anytime somebody making a funny face, she's on board.
Well, who isn't? What, she likes Ace Ventura?
I don't think she likes Jim Carrey. Films.
Oh, he makes funny faces the entire movie.
Yeah, it might be too much like fart and poop humor.
Well, of course, it was too much, yeah.
Like Dumb and Dumber is like that's a lot of fart and poop humor.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, I don't think she ever liked him, but I could watch Ghostbusters anytime. My mom probably got sick of me putting that tape in the VCR.
Okay, what other Rick Moranis movies do you watch, though? Because you like this movie because Rick Moranis is in it, number one, I think.
Oh my gosh, he's so good.
I think that's your number one. Number 2 is that it has really good puppetry.
Yes.
And number 3 is probably like
The
you like the
filmmaking
music.
techniques. And I like the music too.
Yeah.
The music's good. The Motown.
Yeah. So what
very
other
good.
Rick Moranis movies have you seen that are maybe not the common ones?
Streets of Fire.
What the? What is that?
That was a movie he made in the
Is that
80s. Might have
what,
been
the Warriors
pre-Ghostbusters.
director?
Yeah, it's a Walter Hill.
Walter
film.
Hill?
Yeah,
It sounds like him.
friend of the podcast, Brandon Wilson's like one
Is
of
that
his favorite films.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He plays like this like scummy music manager guy. He's like he's almost a villain of the film, or like another villain of the film. Mm-hmm. He's just a jerk.
Okay.
We got all those Honey I Shrunk movies.
Sure. That's his bread and butter right there. Mm-hmm. You ever seen My Blue Heaven?
I have.
I've seen that one.
We've talked about that, I think.
Steve Martin.
Yeah, I feel bad for Rick Moranis in that movie.
I
He
forget,
always gets
like,
picked on.
Steve Martin is a mafia guy, but then he gets amnesia or something.
I know like the cover very well, where he's holding a lawnmower.
Yeah.
He's got the weird hair in that
I think he
film.
was like Steve Martin was a bad mafia guy, and then he gets some type of brain injury, and he turns into this like lovable guy. But I don't remember why Rick Moranis is in the mix.
Yeah,
He has to
are
like
they
take care
related?
of him. Might be his brother-in-law, or I don't know. I don't know.
Steve Martin 80s movies is a whole nother like subject we can talk about. Man with Two Brains, The Jerk. I feel like Tom Hanks kind of like overshadowed Steve Martin in terms of like male comedic lead in films. He was always playing second
they're
fiddle.
kind of the
I
same.
think.
Yeah.
If you can't get Tom Hanks, you get Steve Martin. Is
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
L.A. Story.
Roxanne.
My Father the Bride.
My Father the Bride.
My Father the Bride. That's a
My
film.
Father the Bride.
That's a good movie.
My Father the Bride. That's a 2020.
Yeah, that's a
movie.
coming of age
My
film.
Father the Bride. Coming of age film. Coming of middle age.
You're dealing with some
film.
stuff with that.
My Father the Bride.
There was two of those films.
That's a
Cheaper by the
movie that
dozen?
I don't even think I would want to watch.
He became like a family guy.
He did.
In the 90s. He was like the head of a household. Who did a bunch of head of the household films.
Remember Bringing Down the House?
I never saw that.
That movie's
but-
great. Eugene Levy's hilarious in that movie.
Yeah, but I also like Steve Martin in Little Shop of Horrors. I thought he was funny.
great.
This character is so weird and just straightforwardly like bad. Mm-hmm. He's unabashedly a villain. Like there's
Yes.
no
course.
hiding it. He enjoys.
Well, I mean, he sings a
Being
song
awful.
about like how he enjoyed inflicting pain, and then his mom encouraged him to become a dentist because that was the perfect fit
That
for him.
dentist song is also very fun.
It is.
That's like my favorite song in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's a little slow at the beginning until they get into the chorus part.
But they do that screen projection, like where he's just like obviously just on.
Yeah, I talked about that in part one.
On a set. Yeah.
Yep, it's just scrolling by him. I actually really love that in movies. I like when movies have just a projection in the background and you could tell it's kind of fake. I enjoy that.
That's getting more and more advanced now with the screens and like The Mandalorian, for example, where it's like almost a 3D image behind the actor, and when you move the camera, the image also moves like with the camera and can like change.
Yeah,
It's actually a
there's
virtual
going to be a
3D
time
space.
in not too far down the road where you'll just be able to make a movie on your computer without having to have any actors. You pick and pull pieces yourself and go, okay, I want this person in the movie, but I have all the images I need of them, and then I have all of the possible, voice recording.
That's what's happening now with the Marvel films.
Yeah, I mean, like
Robert Downey Jr. is just ahead in those.
What's
films.
that called? It's like it's
Deepfake?
Deepfakes. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. So that's going to get even better down the road, and they're going to use that for movies, but also for bad stuff too.
Yeah, like I was saying, like Robert Downey Jr. is just ahead in the Avengers films, and they just replace his body. The whole he's just a floating head they can kind of put anywhere they want.
Oh, because he's
And then just
inside
put
the outfit.
Well, he's just wearing a green bodysuit.
Oh,
He's like not even on set some of the time.
really?
Yeah, it's
So
weird.
dumb.
It's really dumb, but it's
dumb.
convenient for the actor.
I
he
hate
just-
that.
He can just show up for like a month, shoot his scenes, and be done.
Yeah. Well, the next step beyond that is they already have all of it, and they don't need you anymore. But you have some contract where it's like, okay, I'll sign away my rights to be in whatever movie that you choose, and I don't even need to be there because you already have all my sounds and my pictures.
One of my favorite movies to watch as a kid. I still watched it now and enjoyed it. The music's still rocking. There's some subtle things I noticed this time around that I didn't notice ever before. And
this was our first musical.
Yeah.
I love musicals.
My mom liked musicals too. I think like maybe Charlie and the Chocolate Factory might have been the first musical I ever seen. Could have been Wizard of Oz, but it's like one of the two.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz has got to be it. That's like one of the earliest movies. That movie has some scary moments when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Those monkeys
Oh,
and
yeah.
that witch.
Oh, boy.
You said, "Oh boy,
Oh, boy.
oh boy."
Well, that was a personal connection. And
It felt personal.
And we'll probably do one for Apollo 13 with Andy Hubert. We'll probably do it with Highly with Andy Moldenauer. and anytime we have a personal connection with one of these films.
It sounds personal.
Get ready to answer the call for the personal connection.
Ring, ring. Personal connection.
Personal connection.